Not a lot from Flipside. They only had one goal the entire series. It was all Dignitas. Every single bit of this match was Team Dignitas doing what they do.
5 seconds in, 12 seconds in, we see it. And then finally, Flipside at least made it competitive, but they just couldn't get the offense going because Dignitas just had control of the ball the entire game.
It wasn't just a sweep, it was a stomp, it was domination, it was starvation. They got one goal the whole series. It was a rough series for Flipside.
It's always tough when you watch something like that because you obviously have a lot of people that hope for them, and we know the individual talents of a team like Flipside. And again, they are, as we mentioned, one of the few teams that have been able to take, of all teams out, Dignitas out when they're in their prime. But if you can't do it consistently, what are you supposed to do? How are we supposed to predict with that? How are we supposed to get behind you if you just are going to do it like twice or once and then kind of fall off again and come back again? In my eyes, that means I'm just not going to be able to trust that you're going to give me a performance.
One of the stats I really liked from Dig coming into this weekend is that they all have the equal amounts of saves, showing that their rotations of defenses are very solid. It was continued here, and that is, even though Flipside did get on offense eventually, you can't get past the wall of Dig.
Speaking of walls of stats, this one kind of speaks for itself. 4.76% on shooting percentage, 21 shots to 26, 16 saves to 18, 0 assists, and only one goal for Flipside. That was from Cooks here. And it felt like in Game 3, when that goal was scored, it's like, okay, maybe we're seeing a little bit of Flipside, but Dignitas, just those numbers, just the way they played, amazing. And from here, is this Dignitas? Is this like undefeated? It's done.
This is scary. They're 3-0 now. They need probably just two more wins.
Who beats them?
Yeah, they probably need 2 more wins to clinch a top 2, and then hey, they're going back to the World Championship, and they've never lost at a World Championship. Like, they've lost the series, but they've never lost a World Championship. So it's gonna be very difficult to play in a live setting to beat Dignitas. There's still hope that someone can beat them in league play, but every week it's seeming more and more doubtful.
And I'm worried about teams like Flipside. You can't get away with being scrappy anymore. Everyone's too good. Everyone's too consistent. These teams that are coming up from rival series, they're just dominating. They're having series where they can show that they're just as mechanically talented. If you're just a scrappy team, it's not going to work. You're going to maybe get the 1 or 2 victories, but it's not going to put you in a land place.
And Dignitas just solidifying that in every sense. They started the season where they kind of left off, and that's what you have to do. There's no time to necessarily make those adjustments and try to make some changes, and Dignitas showed up in a big way. And the fact that they got the sweep, they swept Fnatic as well. Mouse took a game off of Dignitas, so now it might become, okay, when we're thinking about game differential, who can take games off of Dignitas at this point? Forget matches. No one's beating this team, almost, right? We might have to just start the games at this point. But let's talk about the next match we have coming in here. Weedham Girls going up against Fnatic. And by the way, Flipside is done on the day. They play 4 matches in the next 2 weeks. So we'll see if they can turn things around. But here we go, guys. Weedham Girls against Fnatic. Let's start with Fnatic here. They're off to a really rough start. They had the offseason change with Mummy Snow coming in, and now they're sitting at 1-2 with a matchup against Weedham Girls, who was looking phenomenal. So Fnatic, what are we thinking, guys?
They started off poor, but they had a huge 5-game series versus Vitality last week where Mummy Snow just sparked that offense. 7 assists in those 3 victories. It was just a passing dream across all 3 players. And Snasky, he pulled off some incredible plays too. It seemed like everyone is getting involved now on the offensive side. They still have to worry a little bit about their defensive side. They are the worst in the league by far, 2.42 goals per game. But I like to see them finally get an offense going because all of last season, that is what we waited for, and we never saw it.
My favorite thing about Mummy Snow is that as soon as he passes out the ball, he's going straight for someone. We saw Fairy Peak running for his life from this player, so I think he should change his name to Zombie Snow because he is looking to take someone out.
We can't have 2 of you on this desk. We can't have 2 of you on this desk.
Hey, Gilly and Gibbs, it
works. It works. GG, you
know. But we actually, thankfully, have Achieve standing by, and he actually did some breaking down of Fnatic. So in case you missed it with Achieves, take it away, man.
Thanks, guys. Achieves here. We're going to take a quick look at it. And in case you missed it, from week 2 of the European RLCS, Fnatic versus Vitality, it's going to show you a little bit of that killer instinct and how they're able to understand situations, what their opponents can and can't do, and why they were able to score this goal and take a lead in the series and get their first win in the RLCS this season. So it starts here with a missed touch from Pashy. It's important because Scrubkiller was expecting a touch to go off that back wall and them to get a follow-up chance. Maestro just blocked off enough of that angle from Scrubkiller as we take a quick cut here as they push back onto the other field from Mummy Snow to Maestro. There's a couple of important things to notice here. Pashy and Scrubkiller are both on the blue side of the pitch, and Fairy Peak knows he needs to buy time for them to get back. So he's going to kick this ball out towards the sidewall, and Maestro is going to run to this corner and steal that boost. And you'll see why it's important here in a second, because we're going to go to Maestro's camera. You see, all right, I can't make the challenge. That's fine. I'll just make sure that on defense, they won't be able to do too much, because Pesci just picked up 12 boost. That's all he has in the tank, because rotating back from defense, he doesn't have anything to make this strong clear coming up from Mummy Snow's touch towards the back wall. So there's a weak touch, and he doesn't have the boost to follow it up. And you're going to switch to Snatsky's camera here. You're going to cut right here, and you're going to see Pesci behind the ball, still hasn't picked up boost, can't challenge. Scrub Killer goes up the back wall to perhaps defend a touch from Snatsky towards the back wall. Problem is, Snatsky sees all this open space in the midfield, and he says, I've got a clean chance to pass this ball right across the pitch. And you're going to just see him launch this one across. Fairy Peak doesn't have the time to react. Mummy Snow gets it up towards that corner, and a nice clean finish from Snatsky. Give him a comfortable 2-goal lead with about 2:45 left, and it's a clean victory from then on. And that was great understanding from Fnatic to just realize what their opponents could do without the boost, understanding the situation, and capitalizing on it. Back to you guys.
Great stuff, Achieves. Thank you. And here we are. Can Fnatic translate that play, that team chemistry? And I remember seeing a lot of those clips in the offseason kind of leading up to the season of, okay, Fnatic, they got some good team plays going, but now they're sitting at 1-2 with a very important match here against Weedham Girls. But let's talk about Weedham Girls. This is a team, we had some questions coming in, picking up Metza from the old Complexity roster, and now they're 2-1, and with a couple impressive victories, one a 3-1 over Flipside and a 3-0 over Complexity. So Weedham Girls, they're looking like a really strong team.
Yeah, so far we thought that they would be 3-0 coming into this week. We thought everything was aligning for them. PSG looked extremely rough. Weedham Girls looked great at the start of week number 2. And then the script was completely switched, and Weedham Girls just didn't have that offensive firepower. Like Ignite looked amazing versus Complexity, like doing basically everything on the offensive side. But then when they played PSG, they just couldn't get anything going. Now they're sitting at 2-1, and they still need at least one more win to definitely clinch a top 6 spot. And it's going to be a very important match between both of these teams because both are fighting for a playoff spot.
I just love seeing Metzenaris in a new position. I mean, he had to play so defensively with his old team on Complexity because his teammates, Magnus and a lot, were just so hyper-aggressive, a lot always in his opponent's half. So the fact that now we're seeing Metza able to come and put the shots up, we can really see how mechanical that player is because we didn't really get to see him showcase like that. So I think it's going to take a little bit more of the season for him to really feel solidified in that slot. And
then two old teammates battling out, Remco and Maestro. Maestro, like, he created Weedham Girls with Remco, but obviously after the whole school incident, he had to swap some teams around, and now they're battling against one another. And Maestro, he's normally that offensive firepower for Fnatic, and we didn't see it until the last series that we saw from Fnatic. Right now, momentum, though, seems to be on Fnatic's side, because sure, they're 1-2, but they won their last series while Weedham Girls lost it, so we'll see if that matters here. It probably doesn't, like after a long week, but
it was 5 games. It was Vitality, and Vitality did not look good, and Fnatic didn't look that great versus them either. So I think, yeah, they're going off of a win, but I don't know, especially with a week in between, how much it's going to matter.
Yeah, and I love the pivoting that we see sometimes where teams are able to kind of turn it around. Flipside Tactics was an example last season. I think this season, maybe Vitality could be a good example. We don't necessarily know yet. They start off really slow, but then they look really good right now. So I agree, yeah, it could be a great opportunity for Fnatic to catapult, keep those victories coming, because they need that. Again, they're 1-2. It's only 5 weeks. We're going to keep emphasizing that. They're in the bottom 2 right now. They need wins. Weedham Girls, a bit more comfortable at 2-1. So let's get into our predictions. What do we think? Best of 5, Weedham Girls against Fnatic.
I may be kicking myself for this one, but I'm going to stick with Weedham Girls. They did lose versus PSG, and it was a surprise loss, but they looked really, really good versus Complexity, and then I have all the faith in the world in Ignite.
Yeah, I expect the Weedham Girls that we see is the one that we saw versus Complexity. I felt like, I don't know what happened in that PSG series, but nothing was working, but I don't think that's the normal team that we'll see. I got Weedham Girls here. I want to see that Fnatic offense again, but I think the problem is their defense will give up too much, and Weedham Girls will take it.
That's a big part of my prediction as well. As much as when we go blanket across the board, everyone's like, oh, they're just going with the same team. But the fact that we see how strong Weedham Girls can be on offense, and the fact that Fnatic has the worst defense right now in the league as far as just stats on paper is concerned, that's a big problem for me when going to predict them. I mean, that's a massive part of it. You can get as offensive as you want, and they're getting more comfortable with Mummy Snow, and I love seeing it. But I think when Weedham Girls on offense, they're just too strong. I'm expecting pretty high-scoring games from both sides, but I think it's going to be Weedham Girls that ends up on top.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys. I have Weedham Girls, but Achieves had a great breakdown on that play from Fnatic. They are capable of putting together these awesome plays, these great team plays. Can they put it together? Can they play fast enough? Or will Weedham Girls be able to get in and disrupt that? That's what I think more of is going to probably happen. We might see some cool plays attempted, but I think Weedham Girls, they're just too good right now. And they've proven that from the first 2 weeks. And as you mentioned, especially Ignite, it's been great watching him kind of grow, coming into the rival series and then eventually championship series. And now you can tell if you're watching him on Twitter too, he's really excited about all these games. So I think that's a really important mentality as well. But let us know what you think. Speaking of Twitter, get on and tweet us at RL Esports. Use the hashtag RLCS6. What do you think, guys? It's going to be close?
I think it'll be close, but
15 minutes good?
But I do agree that it'll be high scoring. I do agree there.
All right. Well, I'm ready to see some goals and some highlights. So let's get into this next best of 5 and head on over to the State Farm Skybox. Take it away, Leaf and Lawler.
A little bit of nostalgia here, seeing the Weedham Girls name and Maestro and Remco on the field, but of course, they're on opposite ends of the fields this time around as Weedham Girls and Fnatic face off on the pitch. And I think the desk seemed pretty unanimous with Weedham Girls, but Fnatic has been stepping it up as we saw from last week.
Yeah, a lot of it though comes down to Snasky. He has been a big question mark for us for the last couple seasons. Stats last season at the bottom of the board in almost every category, but
stats don't matter.
It's, well, according to Snasky, they don't, but there's a reason why he said that, I think. But not important. He had a huge performance last week. It was part of the reason why they were able to take that victory. Yeah. You know, Achieves broke it down perfectly. Those touches, the awareness of where to put the ball, that's kind of what ties this whole offense together. So if he can be involved, that is the one to look up, pay attention to. Pay attention to Snasky.
Absolutely.
What is he doing to bring this team up on offense?
We're going to have Snasky cam the whole time. No other perspectives.
I'd like to hop on board with Ignite every once in a while. That boy's pretty nuts.
Ignite, an incredibly fast player for Weedham Girls. Snasky, the question mark. We'll see if he can keep it up for Fnatic this week. Great showing last week as we get into game number 1 at best of 5. Weedham Girls versus Fnatic. Ignite already up on offense. A chance for Remco. Quickly stopped out by Metzanar. Is going to be that third man in, the new addition to this team, already paying dividends.
That's just great team play for Ignite to lead the charge and then has the option to take another touch there, but instead lets the captain and Remco play that another one in, and then it just falls into the lap of the last one in rotation. One after another. Great pressure coming out from Weedham Girls early.
30 seconds in, an early lower lead. That's what I was looking for Weedham Girls.
There's some lore.
Why?
I mean, your theory is fantastic.
Oh my god.
You guys haven't seen that video, go check it out.
The Eggsman and Metzanaris. He's going to drop another one in. 2 goals in the lead for Weedham Girls.
Just great setup. They talked about it. He's no longer stuck on defense. Passes it right up to Remco, who plays it right on back. Weedham Girls looking strong.
But as Fnatic, you need to know, just shake this off. Still game 1 and not a minute by so far. Things can change as we move on in the series. Snasky tried to follow up his own touch, but he gets bumped out of the way. Ignite, Metzanar is trying to set it up. Remco just waiting to see where that ball will go. He makes the right call and gets another touch on it. Fnatic trying to clear to their own end to buy themselves some times, get denied that opportunity as it moves back to their end. Remco off the post to Ignite. Maestro just needs to get past Metzanaris. He's got Snasky with him. They can't make it past that last defender. Metzanaris reading that play right. An open net. Fnatic nowhere to be seen. Where are you, boys? There's another goal for Weedham Girls.
That's just playing it well. He's down 1 versus 2. Fakes a challenge and then forces Snasky back outside and wins that 50-50. But then just making sure he's patient, using whatever boost he can. Picks up a couple 12 boost pads and then waits for it to land into his lap in the middle of the field. Puts it away, up by 3 as Weedham Girls looking so strong so far.
Not even a minute and a half passing by, and they're already up by 3 goals. A dominating starting performance here for Weedham Girls. Fnatic still looking to answer one of these goals even. Maestro has Mummy, but Mummy moving up. We'll have to now move back as that play gets intercepted by Ignite. Them girls on their own end quickly find a way out. Follow up by Ignite. No one challenging from Fnatic is going to give Ignite a chance to get a boost still and the pressure, the ball towards the net, and a goal by himself, taking on all three of the members of Fnatic. Weedham Girls doesn't need other people on the team.
His second season of RLCS and making his impact known. One after another can do it all. But originally that play looked like it was actually going to be a problem. Both him and his teammate Remco were going for the same ball. But the captain backs off. Remco is definitely aware. Let Ignite lead the charge. I will support him everywhere. And it is working out. 4 goals now, and we're still not even halfway through.
Maestro with the chance there, just floats that one by. Maybe the opponents, Weedham Girls, thinking he'd get another touch, but he doesn't, and Fnatic puts themselves on the board.
So Remco's actually on the back wall, but he only has 12 boots. As he's going up, Snasky is in his face, and looks like he tries to put a subtle little bump on him. He doesn't get it, but it does force Remco to go up a little bit higher on that back wall, so when he challenges, he can't boost down far enough and flip into it.
One of the goals answered now at that halfway point in game number 1. At least Fnatic isn't shut out. We'll see if they can bring back 3 more to tie this up. It's going to be a tall order. Weedham Girls looking pretty strong, and they're on offense. Remco, a 50 out to mid there. Neither one of his teammates were ready for that, so they'll back off. Weedham Girls on defense. Quick transition out. A play between Remco and Metzenaris. Was able to make sure that Fnatic can't put any pressure on. Mummy in the corner. Can he get this pass out? It pops up a bit, but Ignite was ready for that. Another minute has passed since that last goal, and no answer yet. Or no second goal, sorry, for Fnatic. Weedham Girls holding off well right now. Maestro by himself up on offense. They'll lose control of that quickly. A 50 by Remco off the backboard. Almost a finish from Ignite. He just goes slightly wide, and they'll back off. Expecting a quick counterattack from Fnatic.
Just trying to kill the clock. Not a whole lot they have to worry about. And you're going to see it in the way that they clear the ball. They hit it. And unless possession is 100% in their side, they just back off, get in position, ready to challenge again.
Remco trying to go for a solo play. The wave dash wasn't quick enough, and Fnatic will be able to keep that goal out. See what they can do at mid. They'll have to move back to their own end. Mummy Snow seems to be waiting upfield a lot for a lot of touches, but Fnatic isn't able to get any of those out, and they'll maybe have to rethink how they're playing against Weedham Girls coming into the second game, because it was 30 seconds left and a 5th goal coming up from Weedham Girls. Fnatic looking at an L on this one.
Surprised they actually got away with this one. Both Ignite and Mets started to go for that. But after the initial jump, Ignite lands back down, leaving himself in a good spot, but no one in position for Fnatic to clear the ball out. These guys feeling the pressure. Gonna need to really pick up the pace coming into game number 2. Need to find a way to match the intensity that has been Weedham Girls on offense.
Yeah, great pass in, but Remco's a little wide. Maestro trying to just at least get themselves another play started up for this. With 18 seconds left, all you can do is hope for another goal to carry some momentum into game number 2. As Weedham Girls looking fairly strong, nothing crazy coming up from them. We saw Ignite popping off last week, but two of his goals this time were fairly tame relative to his previous ones.
Well, the nice thing about their captain for Weedham Girls and Remco, very, very unselfish as a player.
Yep.
He's literally just backing off, and any moment is like, yeah, Mets and Ignite will lead the charge. They'll make things happen. And if they can't, I will tie it together. Every goal assisted, a hat trick for Metzenaris. Beautiful play coming out from him. I feel like he's just resurged as a player. He's no longer on defense. He has new motivation, a new team trying to get to that World Championship, because that's what the roster swaps are all about. Beating Dignitas and dethroning the champs, because for some reason they just keep winning.
Yeah, well, Weedham Girls was one of those question marks for top 4. Just, I think they're making a very good case for themselves, saying, yeah, we belong in that top 4 of teams right now. You know, up there with well, I mean, Dignitas is probably like way in their own league. A little bit in their own league. But up there, you know, with teams like Mouse right now, these are just consistently solid teams, especially with players like iGnite, on Weedham Girls. That is just a guy that has just always been a force to be reckoned with. He's on offense. That is not a guy you want to see in your face when he has possession.
To kind of explain for those that don't know how the roster change kind of came about. So they were with Devo originally when they were on Envy, and they had a pretty good championship run, but that was the big question going in. How is Devo going to perform? Because he's been relatively quiet throughout last season. Yep. How is he going to step up? And then he did, and it was great, but it was...
Hallo.
Sido.
Ja.
Kannst du mich hören?
Ja, jetzt schon.
Okay. Komm auf C. Sido. Hallo.
Ja, ich bin dabei.
Okay.
Brauch Hilfe. Orange ist hinter mir.
Mann, Orochi, hör auf!
Hilfe. Fucking Orochi.
Sido.
Ja, ich bin halb tot. Was soll ich machen?
Er hat sich selber... Warte, er soll in die Trap reinlaufen.
Ich hab die Trap da extra hingelegt.
Sido.
Jo.
Kannst du mich hören?
Ja, wieso?
Okay, warte kurz.